Welcome to episode 6 of the EdTech at EPISD podcast. This podcast is brought to you by EPISD and by Instructional Technology, a division of the Active Learning Department. In this episode, we will be talking to you about Apple's artificial assistant program called Siri. Here's a little information for you history buffs. It seems that Siri was actually developed by the SRI International Artificial Intelligence Center as a speech recognition engine. It was released as an iOS app in 2010 and then was purchased by Apple and released in 2011 as part of the iPhone 4S operating system. All of us, whether Android or Apple users, are aware of the power of artificial assistants. Believe me when I say that our department is not here to tell you which one is better. But since our district has gone the way of Apple products in the introduction of iPads since about 2008, and now MacBooks for both secondary students as well as teachers, we find it important that you know how to activate and use this very popular service. It's very easy to enable Siri. All you have to do is click on the Siri icon in the dock and enable it. Of course, the use of Siri, just like any other artificial assistant, will collect information to better learn how to serve you. The more you ask questions like the weather, football scores, or even tell it to open apps or programs, the more it will learn and react to your requests. Although Apple is by far the most secure platform as far as privacy is concerned, there will always be a need for human interface to improve these systems, thus making it necessary to randomly listen to commands given to Siri to see if it reacts correctly, and if not, create the code or algorithm necessary for it to work better. So once you enable Siri, you should now see the icon in the Apple menu bar on the top right corner. Before we begin using Siri, let's take a look at some of the settings and adjustments that you can make. We will start by opening System Preferences. Remember that System Preferences can either be opened from the Apple menu, from the System Preferences icon found in the dock, or by pressing Command Spacebar and typing System Preferences and pressing Enter. In System Preferences, go ahead and click on the Siri icon. To the left of the window, you will see the checkbox that shows you that Siri is now enabled. If you wish to disable Siri, all you have to do is uncheck this box. To the right of the window, you will see more settings. First, you have the keyboard shortcut. This is the default shortcut and it's pretty easy to use. All you have to do is hold Command and the spacebar at the same time to enable Siri. You can change this if you wish, but we do recommend keeping this shortcut. Underneath that, you have the language selection. It is preset to the language that you selected when you set up your laptop. You can change the language if you like. This might be beneficial if you're a foreign language teacher or a dual language Spanish teacher. If you do switch the language, you will find that the voice will also change according to the language. The third option is Siri Voice. No matter what language you are using Siri in, you can always change the Siri Voice to another region that speaks that language. As you can see, Apple has a selection of regions and genders that speak English. This is truly a personal preference, but it might assist you in setting the mood depending on the topic and region your students are currently engaged in. The voice feedback option turns Siri's voice on or off. If all you want is text information without the need to hear the artificial voice, then you can turn that feedback off. I personally believe that Siri would not serve its full purpose with the voice being off, but this is a personal choice. The last option is the checkbox that allows the Siri icon to show up in the menu bar at the top. If you wish to not have it seen, then you can uncheck this box. You can also remove the Siri icon from the dock and then activate it by using the keyboard shortcut. Under the Siri Suggestions and Privacy button, you will see some of the programs that Siri can interact with to do what you ask it to. If you ask Siri about your calendar events, it will either create or show you your calendar events. You need to make sure that the services you want are selected. If you do not wish certain apps to be discoverable and used by Siri, you can uncheck them. So now that we have adjusted our Siri settings, let's take a look at what Siri can do. If you click on the Siri icon and ask, "What can you do?" it will give you a list of options. What can you do? So just like Spotlight, it can find your folders and files just by asking it. Siri can also access and control certain system preferences, such as manage your screen brightness, turn your Bluetooth on or off, launch apps, set calendar events, check on sports, open photos, and so much more. For more information, navigate to EPISD.its.weebly.com to check out the ITS blog and download the list and information that Apple has shared about Siri. Now, in an educational setting, Siri can do many things on both the iPad as well as the Mac. Teachers can ask Siri to choose a random number in a series or roll dice, just like this. Hey Siri, roll a dice.
My apologies.
Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 50.
The answer is 40.
You can even ask Siri to find tweets on a specific subject like the effects of global warming or any weather event. Or you and your students can ask Siri about the weather in various regions of the world. What's the weather in Russia?
Here's the forecast for Moscow, Russia for today.
The learning really comes through the student usage. Students can use it to define words they do not know when reading a book or passage, and they can even ask to spell words they're having a hard time finding in a traditional dictionary. Spell concussion.
Concussion. C-O-N-C-U-S-S-I-O-N. My apologies.
Define literacy.
Literacy means the ability to read and write.
Students can use Siri to check basic math as well as do conversations of money and measurements. What's 35 plus 7?
It's 42.
Convert 30 feet to yards.
It's 10 yards.
What's the square root of 357?
The square root of 357 is approximately 18.8944.
Convert 10 pounds into kilos.
That would be 4.54 kilograms.
One feature that I like is the fact that Siri can translate as well. Translate newcomer to Spanish.
Okay, I found this.
So as they say, the sky's the limit when it comes to Siri. Next time you're feeling a bit bored, have Siri tell you a joke.
Tell me a joke. Just yesterday, someone asked me to stop playing Wonderwall. I said maybe.
Haha, parapa. We have now come to the end of this episode. Don't forget to check out the blog for this episode by heading over to episdits.weebly.com, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the link at the end of this episode. Our podcast can also be found on Apple Podcasts by searching for EdTech at EPISD. See you next time on the EdTech at EPISD podcast.